Hello everybody, and thank you for joining me. This is Ciara from Ciara Designs, and today I'm sharing week 9 of the 12 weeks of Christmas series. So let's jump right in. So hopefully you guys aren't tired of snowflake cards, because this will be another one of those, but I will be working with some alcohol inks in this video, which is one of my favorite mediums to play with. So I'm going to cut down some Yupo here, and this is going to be 4x6, and I'm going to cut it later after all of my alcohol ink has dried down to 2x4. So every one of the cards, I'm making 6 cards, will have just this little piece of alcohol ink on it, and I just think they turned out really cute. And then to mat the alcohol ink, as you guys know, if you've been with my channel for a while, I love to mat things. I just like how that looks. I'm going to cut down this glitter cardstock, and it is going to be cut to 2 1/4 by 4 1/4 so that it looks really nice under that 2x4 alcohol ink piece we're going to cut down in a little bit. And I am also going to use the same white glitter cardstock for my snowflakes you'll see here in a little bit. And yes, I am going to use the Vault Winter Wishes snowflake again, but this time I'm going to let it shine on its own. I have been layering it up with other snowflakes, and this time I just really want it to kind of be on its own and look beautiful, because it is a very beautiful snowflake. So we're not going to add extra snowflakes on top of it. But I am going to make 6 cards in this set just because I thought that they would be beautiful. Now, I'm going to do something I don't normally do. Normally, I would add blending solution, but I've had questions before if you need to have blending solution. So for this first panel, I'm going to use only isopropyl alcohol. That is what's in that blue bottle there with a little dauber, and I'm going to use just that and the alcohol inks. And the 4 colors I'm working here with are Cosmopolitan, Juniper, Cool Peri, and Cloudy Blue. And we're going to kind of use the exact same colors for both panels, but on this panel, I'm only going to use that isopropyl alcohol. And on the second panel, we're only going to use blending solution with it. So this kind of hopefully will answer some of the questions that I have gotten in the past. Do you have to use blending solution? And the answer, at least in my personal experience, is no, as long as you are not working with a pearl or with a metallic like an alloy, any of those, because you need the blending solution for those to set, I guess is the right word, because the pearl, what's in the pearl, needs to have the blending solution to actually stay on the paper. So hopefully that kind of makes sense, but I'm going to create the backgrounds the exact same way. I love a lot of movement in my alcohol ink background, so you can see that I'm adding a lot of layers. I'm working them around, getting them to move together, and when I'm happy with how the color looks, I set it aside to fully dry, and then I'm going to bring in my other piece. I did clean my mat in between just because I do tend to have alcohol ink kind of run off the edges while I'm working with it. That's just because, again, like I said, I love the movement. So if it isn't moving enough for me, I bring in that air tool, the air blower, and I have it kind of help me move things around. So we're going to start all over again, same 4 colors in the same 4 places, and we're just going to build this background the exact same way that I did the other one, and they turn out very similar. I think the only thing that I've noticed, and honestly it's pretty minute, is that while working with the alcohol, the isopropyl alcohol, I find that, and it is 99% for anybody who's interested, I do find that it kind of gives me a lot more movement, but less blending. So I find the colors don't kind of meld together as much as it does with the blending solution, but honestly, you're going to see when I hold them both up together, they have such similar results that you really could go either way and it would work beautifully. But blending solution is my preferred of the mediums, just because that's what I tend to work with, and I love the results that I get. So hopefully that kind of answers that question if you were at all interested in that information. And then I'm going to hold them up here in a second once I'm kind of done adding the color. And I just keep going back and forth. I just keep adding color until I'm happy. Now, if you made a background that you were really unhappy with, you could actually take that isopropyl alcohol, put it on top, and wipe all the color off and start all over. So that's where I think that this medium can be quite forgiving, in as much as it allows you to really have a play. And if you're not happy with it, it's almost like you erase the board and start all over again. So if you have the alcohol inks and you haven't busted them out in a while, please do. I think they're so much fun to work with, and I think you would really enjoy it. And of course, we had to add some texture, some interest. So I brought my isopropyl alcohol back in with my splatter brush. This splatter brush I specifically use with alcohol for alcohol inks, just because I love how this looks. And then recently I was scrolling through Instagram, and Ranger had a video up on their channel where they added white and black splatter to an alcohol ink background, and I loved it so much I had to add it to mine. Now, I normally add white splatter to things, but I very rarely add black splatter to anything. So I thought this would just be a really fun way to add some black splatter, just to add that little bit of extra texture. And I have a pretty small brush here because I do want my splatter to be fairly small, but you'll see when I hold them up that it just looks really neat, and I like what it's done to the background. Now on the left is the alcohol ink one, and on the right was the blending solution one, and I will hold them up a little later here so you guys can see they are still drying at this point. So I'm going to cut out my snowflake. And as I said, this is the Vault Winter Wishes snowflake, and I'm going to cut it out 6 times. I did have an issue once where it didn't cut all the way through. Not a big deal. That's because of me generally. Generally, it's because I don't have my sandwich quite lined up properly, so it will kind of cause me a little bit of an issue. But every die cutting machine is a little bit different, so that's going to be a very personal learning curve as you figure out what sandwich works properly for your die cutting machine. But this is kind of what I've come to notice with my own machine, is that if I have it here on the side like I'm about to do it, I find that it doesn't cut well on the one side. So I'll just run it through again, no problem. And glitter cardstock's always a bit interesting to get cut anyway. So I didn't have too many issues with it. I just had to run it through again. You'll see here, I'll flip it over and check the back. Notice that one piece of the snowflake did not cut, and run it back through. But yeah, that is the only die cutting we're going to do in this video. These cards are actually fairly simple in as much as they don't have a lot of steps. And if you weren't interested in alcohol inks, you could easily turn this into doing something like ink blending instead of the alcohol inks. Or you could do some stamping if you had some kind of really big, beautiful background stamp, that kind of thing. You could easily kind of do those and add them in on top of my little panel that we're going to add here in a minute with the alcohol inks. So I like to think that my cards, as a general rule, are fairly versatile, and they give you a good opportunity to play with the supplies that you own and kind of have a lot of fun. So keep that in mind. If alcohol inks aren't your thing and you don't know that you want to try them, you could recreate this card with multiple different mediums. So I can't believe we're on week 9 of the Christmas series already. That's just, time is flying by. I do have a live stream this week if you guys are interested in hanging out with me. It is on Thursday at 3 p.m. Pacific Standard Time is when I start. Usually runs a couple hours, and it's a good opportunity if you want to come and chat with me or ask me questions or just visit and say hi. You absolutely can. That's kind of really fun. This week I am going to work on a diamond art painting that I've been, working on slowly over time. It's kind of a fun one to just jump in and chat with me if you have anything you want to ask or you want to tell me or you want to, anything like that. It's a great chance to come and just chat with me if you're at all interested. And I recently set up channel memberships. It's brand new to me. I was invited to a boot camp for it, and I really want to explore that. So it's just an opportunity for people, if they want to, support the channel, they can. So you can check that out down below. I will have an introduction video for it soon, but I literally just set it up, but just before I started the voiceover for this video. So it is brand new. So yeah, if you're at all interested, go and check that out. It is just down below. And yeah, that's kind of the new information I have for you guys. Also, if you haven't subscribed to my channel yet and you'd like to, please consider doing so. My goal is to hit 10,000 subscribers before the end of the year, and we are getting extremely close. So if you enjoy my content and you want to come back and hang out with me again, my content's not going to change just because I've added memberships. Nothing's going to change on the channel. That's just if anybody's interested in kind of getting a little bit of behind the scenes or, early access to some videos or that kind of thing, or they just really want to support my content. That's what that's for. So my channel will not change. It's going to be the exact same as it already is. That's just like an addition to the channel for anybody who's interested in doing so. So But yeah, please subscribe if you wouldn't, you wouldn't mind and you enjoy my content. We are incredibly close at this point, and I do have some really exciting plans for January. I'll tell you guys more about them as we get a little closer to the 10,000, but I do have some really fun plans for January. So hopefully you'll stick around and enjoy what I've got planned on the docket for that. So I just poked out all the little bits inside of these snowflakes. These snowflakes are really pretty. I haven't shown them in all of their glory yet. So here you go. You can see them. The one on the left is the alcohol ink and the one on the right is the blending solution. So it kind of gives you an idea of what they look like. And I'm going to cut them down now to that 2 inches. As I said, it is going to be 2 by 4. And then they're going to be these cute little stubby alcohol ink panels on the cards. And I think it's just the right amount of a pop of color. I love how these cards turned out. I mean, not to toot my own horn or anything, but I think that I've made some of my best Christmas cards this 12 weeks of Christmas. I have a really beautiful set for next week as well. It's a white and gold set. I'm really excited about it. And then I only have 2 sets left, which is kind of crazy. We're so close to Christmas, which is just, a little bananas when I stop and think about how quickly time is going by. But I have been having a lot of fun with this Christmas set. And I think that there were some stunning cards in this series this year. So this is my 4th year, I want to say, making this series. So that's always really exciting too, because I can look back on the old ones that I've made and see how far my channel's come and see how far my creating has come since then. Although this year was very snowflake heavy, just because I love them, and there was some great snowflake dies out this year. And then, I mean, I only use snowflake dies in the winter, so I guess I get, really excited when we get to winter and Christmas, because I bust out all my snowflake dies and use them, pretty extensively, especially this year while we are creating for Christmas. So I just layered up my glitter cardstock and my little Yupo piece, and then I'm going to kind of lay out how I want my sentiments to go. I'm sorry about my crazy hairdo there. I just needed to make sure that my sentiment was straight on the card base, and then I'm going to stamp them out on all of my card bases. So this stamp set came from the Christmas Blessing Stamps by Simon Says Stamp. If you guys have been watching my Christmas series this year, you will have seen this stamp set several times. It is my favorite Christmas sentiment set. If you were going to buy literally just one Christmas sentiment set, this would be the one I would suggest. And I did have a piece of cat hair that got stuck across there, so I'm just kind of cleaning that off. And then I'm going to continue just stamping out all of the sentiments in the area I thought that it would look nice on the background or on the card base. It is very often where I stamp directly on the card base. So this is a fun set in that it's fairly straightforward. I mean, we're going to assembly line everything now. We're going to stamp all the sentiments. We're going to add all of the panels, the alcohol ink panels, to the same area on every card. And it's really just up above the sentiment. I've kind of laid this out that they all sit, kind of nestled together, and it looks really pretty. And then we're going to add the snowflake on. So once you've done the colorful panel, however you want to do it, this is really straightforward, and that's why I think this is a fairly versatile set of cards that you could easily mass produce if you needed to. And then, of course, change up the sentiment. This needs to be a birthday card, make it a birthday card. Add balloons instead of a snowflake. I think that this just lends itself well to a lot of different design options. So, and of course, if you didn't want the alcohol ink panel to be a little stubby, just make it a little bit larger. I wanted it to be this kind of cute little stubby color piece, and then that snowflake kind of gets to stand on its own and look really pretty without overtaking any of the other elements. So it's kind of what I was thinking when I sat down and created this design, but you guys can alter it however you want to whatever you need this card to be. And of course, now we're just going to add the snowflakes, and I tend to leave just the inside adhered. I like it to be able to kind of lift and move a little. Be careful with that when you put it in an envelope, of course, but other than that, I like it to be able to move. And I am intentionally making sure that the whole snowflake is sitting on top of the panel so that none of it needs to be removed when you go and put it in an envelope. So that's why you kind of see me pushing it in just a touch from the right-hand side so that I know that this will fit nicely in an envelope. Not that I can mail anything at the moment, but when I can, I would be able to stick this in an envelope very easily. If you guys don't know, Canada Post is on strike, and I'm Canadian, so there is no mail going anywhere at all. So like my advent calendar that I pre-ordered in September, I won't get it before Christmas, I don't think, unless something changes drastically in the next very soon. So I'm a little bummed about that. I ordered a stationary advent calendar from a creator that I greatly admire, and she's from Norway, and it shipped like the 2nd of November or something. It was on pre-order from September. It shipped beginning of November, and sadly it didn't make it to me before the strike happened. So I will not have my advent calendar, and I'm a little bummed, but that's okay. It is what it is. There's nothing I can do about it, and there's no point in getting excited about it because there's nothing I can do. But this is how those cards turned out. I love them. I think that they are just stunning. And I want to hear what you guys think. So please leave me a comment. Tell me your thoughts. Tell me, if you have any questions, ask them in the comments. I do respond to all my comments. I am a little bit behind at the moment, but I always catch up. Usually it takes me a couple of days, a week at most, usually. So yeah, leave me a comment if you have any. Leave me a question. And please consider subscribing if you haven't already. As I said, I'm trying to hit that 10,000 subscribers by the end of this year, and we are getting so close. And come and join me in my live if you're free on Thursday. I will see you guys again very soon with the next video. Bye-bye for now.